Good morning to all my dear students, and you all are welcome in Ambuja Public School in Social Science class of class 5th. And today I have come before you with chapter number 11, and the title goes like this: Our Constitution. So we'll understand what is the meaning of our Constitution and why do we require to write it down in the form of book and document. What are the few important things about our Constitution and what duties and rights have been given by our Constitution. These are the other main points of the chapter, students. So what are the other four important things related to our about our constitution? And is India a democratic republic country? Why? Then presently, if we talk about today's political scenario, India is a union of 28 states and 9 union territories. And why India is a secular country? What are the important features which make our country a secular country? And what is the meaning of secularism? And liberty, what do you mean by liberty? Liberty means freedom. Okay, so liberty and equality, these are the two basic ideas of our constitution. How? Now what you can see here, this is a homework diary of a school which you get every day. Here you can see this heading, code of conduct. The code of conduct means certain rules and regulations are mentioned, certain laws and norms are mentioned in our book, in our homework diary, which everyone has to follow. I as a teacher, I have to follow, you people being a student, you have to follow, parents have to follow, office staff, everybody has to follow certain code of conduct which are very necessary for the smooth functioning of any school. Similarly, you can see the forbidden practices, that is do's and don'ts. So, what are the things which you should do in the school? What are the things we should never do in the school? What are the things which you should never bring in the school? And if you are breaking the laws of the school, what sort of punishment will be given to someone who will break the laws of the school? So, all are mentioned here. This is very very important. In every school the rules and regulations are there. Okay, otherwise what will happen? Without any rules and regulations, what will happen, students? A lot of indiscipline, a lot of disturbance will come in the school, and because of that studies will not go on. You people cannot do your studies, you cannot participate in any activity equally, wholeheartedly. Okay, so it is very important for any school, any institution, let's say hospital, college, university, for any institution, every institution, the rules and regulations are important. Okay, similarly your mother father has also made some rules in your at your home, so these are also very important. You have to follow, you have to listen to your mother and father. Then if you are playing any game, let's say cricket, so there also you have to follow certain rules. So for the players in every game, certain rules and regulations are there. If you are playing football, volleyball, hockey, any game you are playing, so you have to follow certain rules and regulations. Otherwise what will happen? All the players, they will start fighting with each other, and everybody will claim for the victory. Everybody will say, I'm the winner, I'm the winner. So this way what will happen? Lot of chaos will be taken place, and the game will end into a the as a conflict. Okay, no results will be there, and even the people will also not enjoy the game. So this way we have seen, students, ultimately that rules and regulations are required in every walk, sphere, field of the life. So this is what we have, the rules and regulations of our country in the form of written constitution. Okay, and these are some of the important features. So finally, our on 26th November 1949, our constitution was adopted. It was completed, written completely, and then it was adopted in the year 1949. So that's why this day is celebrated as Constitution Day. Indian Constitution Day we celebrate on 26th November. And finally, this constitution was practically came into effect and started following by the people of country, government of our country on the date 26 January 1950. So that's why every year on 26 January, students, we celebrate Republic Day. Republic Day means every country is having certain rules and regulations, and according to which the central government works upon. Okay, so the Indian constitution is the longest constitution, and how many rules and regulations are written? So well organized rules and regulations are known as articles. Initially total 395 articles were there. But today we have total 448 articles are there. In that, many rules and regulations are mentioned for each and every section of the society. Okay. And the committee, or we can say the group of people, was known as Constituent Assembly. So Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar, who is this great personality, students, as to whom you are looking at the screen, he is Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar, and he was the head of this committee. Which committee? The drafting committee. Okay, drafting committee of our Indian Constitution. So all the rules and regulations were written under the leadership and the guidelines of Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar. So he is also known as the father of our constitution, maker of the constitution, and the chief architect of our Indian constitution. These are some of the important facts, students, which I will be telling you, explaining you with the help of the chapter. Okay. So a committee was made. It was not an easy job to write the constitution, because after all, now, before independence, everybody was having the dream and aspiration. Whenever our country will become independent, we should have, first of all, the first thing we should have in our hand should be our constitution. So one person, it was not the job of one person. So total, how many members were there in that committee? That committee was responsible for making and writing our constitution, and that committee was a group of so many people. So that committee was known as Constituent Assembly. And this Constituent Assembly was a group of people. How many people? 299 members were there in the Constituent Assembly, who every day they used to discuss and debate on the certain laws which we should have after our independence. Total, there was a scope of 389 seats. But ultimately, 299, they became the members of our Constituent Assembly. And why should we require constitution? So that everybody should be treated equally. No caste discrimination should be there, because before independence, our country was a slave country. The British were ruling in our country, and there was lot of caste discrimination was there. Okay, all the people of different castes were not treated as equal. So that's why everybody should have the right to equality. Everybody can trust, everybody can share confidence in each other, and we can also protect our own public interest, the matters of public interest, like for example our education, our health, water, our shelter, and also we can have the equal social and economic rights. So these are the reasons behind having our constitution. And what is this, students? You can see on your screen, it is an introductory part of our constitution, which is known as preamble. So preamble is the first page or introductory or introduction of our constitution. Okay. In this, here what we are doing, we have taken a pledge. In assembly, you people say the pledge, no? Okay, so here also a pledge is written. So I'll just explain you from which country we have taken the concept and what are the main important principles. Already have mentioned you, liberty and equality are the main principles of our constitution. And our India's constitution is the longest one, longest written constitution. Okay, and with it is having presently 448 articles with 12 schedules. On 26th November, we celebrate our Constitution Day. Okay, now students, now I'm going to explain you this chapter with the help of the book. Okay, so let us begin our Constitution. So these are the main points already we have covered up. Okay, fine. Constitution, a written document, a written book. So ultimately, students, how you can define the Constitution? So our constitution is the basic written laws, rules and regulations of our country, according to which our government is governed. According to which our country is governed. According to which our country is governed by the government at the different levels. Okay. How much time has been taken? 2 years, 11 months and 17 days has been taken. Have been taken to write down our constitution completely, because it is not an easy job. It was not a job of only one person to write the constitution in one day. So around 3 years were taken and around 300 members. So three figure is very important. 300 members were there around in round figure, and 3 years were taken almost to complete write down our constitution completely. So this is the introduction of the chapter, students. In every school we require the rules and regulations. Okay. So similarly we are having all the laws in our book, written book, which is the Constitution of India. It is a written book and document. This also I will show you at the end of the video. So Constitution is a supreme law and nobody is above this law. Okay, nobody, whether a prime minister, president, whether a common person or an engineer, nobody. Everybody has to follow the law. This is known as the rule of the law. So in our country is governed according to the rule of the law. And in our constitution, students, we are having the different procedures are there, different methods are there, powers are given to some of the people, duties are given. Okay, written set of fundamental rights, DPSP, that is what do you understand by directive principles of our country. Then what are the duties of every citizen which they have to follow, because if we want to enjoy the rights, then obviously certain duties also we have to follow, isn't it? An amazing fact is already longest written constitution in the world. Then making of the constitution was done by the people elected a body known as Constituent Assembly, and this body was made in the year 9 December 1946. So on 9 December 1946, first of all, this committee started debating, having open discussion on the rules and regulations of our country. Because now after everybody was looking a dream to become independent as early as possible from the British rule, because that was a very cruel rule where the people were not having any equality, no freedom of speech, people were not allowed to speak anything against the cruel rule of the Britishers. If anybody used to show the courage to speak anything against the British government, so they were put behind the bars. They were jailed, tortured, beaten, and killed also. So this way, everybody was working very hard for the systematic rules and regulations. So this way, the committee was their Constituent Assembly, and the chairperson was Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar. So what he did, he studied the constitution of different countries. Okay, from of different countries he had studied the constitution before making our constitution finally. Okay, and what were those countries? They were US, USA, Ireland, Britain, Canada, Australia, Germany, USSR, which is today's Russia, France, South Africa, Japan, and many more other countries. Constitution was studied, read properly, and whatever good things were there which can be suitable, which were suitable for our country, for the governing our country, they were adopted in our constitution. And finally, we are our country became republic on 26th January 1950 because we adopted our constitution that day. Okay, and as already have told you that all constitutions are not written, students. One example is of UK, United Kingdom. Okay, United Kingdom constitution is not at all written. Now, before fundamental rights, students, I will explain you what is the meaning of democratic and republic. So very proudly we can say India is a democratic country, India is a republic country. Why? Because in a republic country, students, the official head of the country is president, not a king or queen. Because before independence, students, our country was ruled by British rule, and before that, when the Britishers, when they came to India, and when they were ruling in India during that time also, in many states, local kings, rulers, nawabs, and queens were there. And what was the main drawback, or we can say what was the most minus point of that kind of system, government system was there, that they always used to fight with each other. There was no unity in our country, and that is why when Britishers, when they came to India, they saw that these rulers are fighting with each other, so they started ruling our country by taking the undue advantage of this situation. And democracy means where the people are having to elect their rulers through the process of election. That is why in our country, after every 5 years, we have the election. And the supreme law authority, the supreme authority of making the laws is parliament. Okay, so the leaders are elected by the people, and those elected leaders only they form the government. Then they go in the parliament of our country, which is in New Delhi. So there, those leaders are known as MPs, that is member of parliament. What is parliament? It is a supreme law making body. Okay, here the laws are made of our country with the help of prime minister, okay, other ministers, other departments of ministers, and finally they are approved by our president. So such countries in which elections are held, the people are electing their own rulers by through voting process. And here where the president is the official head of country is known as democratic republic country. So he is a 14th president of India, students. Currently, Shri Ramnath Kovind is our current 14th president of India. And this is parliament. Here only the prime minister and other ministers they sit and they discuss on the problems of our country, okay, issues of country, and according to which they make the certain laws through different processes. This is the inside inner picture of the parliament where the people, where all the leaders, MPs, they sit together. Speaker also sit. They openly have the discussion and debate on the laws. Now, Indian Union. So, India is a union of many state students, okay, and each state are having their own government. Now, India is a very vast country. Today, presently, we have 135 crores of population. So, it is not possible for one government who sits in New Delhi, which is known as central government or national government or union government, whose or real head is prime minister. So it is not possible for one prime minister while sitting in New Delhi to run the entire country with the 28 states and 9 union territories, because area wise also India is very vast, from north to south, and east to west. The area is measured in millions of squares of kilometers. So we cannot govern, we cannot listen. One government, one person cannot listen the problems of everyone. So that is why in every state we are having the government, which is known as state government. Okay. And our constitution says that in every state we should have the state government whose head is chief minister, official real head is chief minister. And similarly at the central level, we are having the central government whose head is prime minister, of a real head is prime minister. So in our constitution it is clearly mentioned कि what will be the duties of central government and what will be the duties of the state government, so that once again they will not have any conflict or tension or quarrel in any of the issue. So that is why in our constitution it is specified, means it is written very clearly that jobs means duties of state government and the union government, and on what list, on which areas, on which issues they are going to make the laws, so that both the law everyone's laws and views will not clash with each other. So this is we are having, students, this is union list, means on these issues only our union government, that is central government, will make the laws. That is on our defense, that is army, military, railways, post, telegraph, income tax, custom duties. On all these issues only the central government is supposed to make the laws. These state government and the local government will not interfere in these matters. Similarly, in the, we can say, state state government is having the duty to make the laws on trade, commerce, police, okay, fisheries, forest, local government, theaters, industries. And both this government, central government and the state government, combinedly together they are making the laws on stamp duties, drugs, prison, electricity, newspaper, criminal law, labor, welfare, which is known as concurrent list. Okay, so let us see once again what are the areas, what are the different areas and the matters which are only looked after by the state government. So they are law and order, that is the to maintain the law and order in any state. It is a duty of the state government of that state. So it is maintained by police department of that state only. Then state transport, provide the state transport, farming, agriculture, health centers, hospitals, okay, government health center, government hospitals, supply of electricity, These all matters are looked after by the state government. Here you can see. Okay, just identify the different areas. Now union. So what are the different areas and the matters which are looked after only by the central government for the whole country? So these are defense, that is armed forces, okay, which is completely directly related to the protection, safety, security of our country. Then railway department, national highways construction, and our relationship with the other foreign countries, which should be very friendly, healthy, cooperative. Okay, identify now, students, identify. Now very proudly we can say India is a secular country. India is a secular country, and here we have the prevalent of secularism. Now what you can see on your screen, different religions are mentioned. Hinduism, Jainism, Buddhism, Sikhism, Islam, Christianity. Okay, even other religions are there, Parsis are there. So here, why do we say India is a secular country? Secular means the government does not support any particular religion, and all religions are equal in our country, and there is no state religion, there is no official state religion. All religions are equal in our country, and the people of all religion will be getting the equal rights to promote themselves and to enjoy their fundamental rights. Then we are having the two basic ideas of our constitution, that is liberty and equality. Our political leaders, students, before independence, they understood very well कि why we are suffering in the British rule before 1947, because our Indian people were not having any freedom. They did not enjoy any freedom to go to any institution, to complete their education, and there was no equality in our country. There was no equality because our society was divided in the name of caste. Upper caste was there, lower caste were there. So lot of discrimination, differences were there, and in the name of caste, the upper caste people, they used to behave very badly, in a inhuman way, unkindly with the lower caste people. So these two basic ideas were included in our constitution, and on the basis of that only some fundamental rights have been given to the each and every person of our country, according to which everybody will be treated equally, whether the person belongs to any religion. So irrespective of any caste, religion, gender, economic background, everybody is treated equally by the government and by the law. As already I have told you that our country is working according to the rule of the law, and the law is equal for everyone. Now another important topic is DPSP. DPSP full form is Directive Principles of State Policy. Now what do you mean by it? According to which now the government has to make some laws. Why and for whom? Government has to make some laws. Yeah, so according to directive principles, under directive principles, our constitution has given the instructions to the government of India. What are the instructions? That our government of India has to make some laws on the basis of these principles. Okay, for example, our government has to make the laws which should be made for the welfare of the people, for the goodness of the people, not for harming the people, not for taking away the fundamental rights of the people. So constitution has clearly given the instructions that whatever laws will be made by the government, they should be for the development of the people, and they should not harass, or they should not we can say create any obstacle or any problems in the progress of the people. Setting up of panchayats means in the villages. Now it was a dream project of Mahatma Gandhi. Mahatma Gandhi wanted to set up the Panchayati Raj system in India, because in India maximum population lives in villages, and they are mainly farmers. So farmers also should be given some rights, some duties, some power. Okay, so that they can also progress, they can also make progress in our country. So for them, Mahatma Gandhi and our government wanted to set up the local government in our villages, And for that, for the welfare of the villagers, farmers, they wanted to set up panchayati raj system. Then for protecting the forest, because it is again the fundamental duty of our citizen and government to protect the natural environment. So what comes in natural environment? Our forest, our wildlife. Okay, so these things come. And before I tell you the summary, students, I will take you. Yes, so forest, wildlife, and on the basis of all these basic principles, our government is supposed to make the laws. And a lot of work has been done, and lot of laws have been made to help the workers, women, tribal people, Adivasi people, the people belonging to other caste. And the government has decided to provide free education to children between the age of 6 and 14. Okay, and it comes under our fundamental right. So now students, we are going to focus mainly on our fundamental rights. So some important fundamental rights have been given to each and every citizen of our country by our constitution. Okay, and no one, even our government also cannot take these rights from anyone. If someone, now in exceptional cases, if someone is trying to we can go to the court. If someone tries to, suppose state government, central government, yeah, if any other person, any other very strong and person belonging to any political background, if forcefully, if somebody is doing something wrong with us, taking our property, okay, then in that case we can go to the court. We can take the help of our court system of India. And in that situation, one more situation arises, students, when the people break laws. Now, there are certain people in our country, those who always try to create disturbance, those who always break the laws and orders. For that, what is the provision? Do they get any punishment? Yes. For those people, those who are breaking the laws of our country and disturbing the peace in our country, those, in that case, the court is taking some of their fundamental rights, okay, to teach them a lesson. For example, a person who is involved in a robbery, he will be sent to the jail. And this way, this takes away some of their fundamental right of freedom. Now, how many fundamental rights are there? So, there are 6 fundamental rights. Okay, total 6 fundamental rights are there. Right to equality, right to freedom of religion, cultural and educational rights, right against exploitation, right to constitutional remedies, and RTE. RTE has been added recently only, students. Okay, in 2010 only, on 1st April 2010 only, RTE, that is right to education, has come into effect. So what is the right to equality? Repeatedly, I am telling you, students, that our country is governed by the rule of law. It means all Indians are having the equal rights, irrespective of the person belongs to any caste, religion, gender, economic, political background, any background. Okay? And people cannot be stopped from doing any job according to this right. You can go and you can do job anywhere. Okay, so it means people cannot be stopped from doing any job, any kind of service. You can study in any institution. You can buy the property in any part of the country. You can settle down over there. You can enter in any public place, and so on. And on the basis of caste, religion, gender, whether the person is rich or poor, nobody is left behind. Okay, it means that the law is same for everyone. Okay, everybody can enjoy social equality, economic equality, political equality. And this right to equality is mentioned in our constitution in article 14 to 18. Now next is right to freedom. So what type of freedom do we have? And it is mentioned in our article 19 to 22. In these 3 articles it has been mentioned. So we are having the freedom to speech. In this article we are having in this fundamental right, we are having the right to freedom of speech and freedom of expression. That we Indians are having the freedom to speak and to express our problems on any issues. We can express our problems also, we can express our views also, our feelings also on any issue. we can travel anywhere, we can do job anywhere. Okay, and even nowadays, as we say that media is a fourth pillar of a democratic country, so media is also having the freedom of expression of speech. Wherever media, they find that something wrong is going on by any of the government or by any political leader, and some problems are there in any society, so they are having the complete freedom to highlight those issues through their means, either through the newspaper or the news channels. And according to this right to freedom, we can travel anywhere, we can stay in any part of the country, we can form groups, associations, NGOs, we can speak in public, and we can, in any way, in different ways, we can express our issues and problems in written way, verbally. Okay, but again, one limitation is there. We should not misuse this power of freedom of speech. If really something is very important, then we should express our views. Otherwise, we should not criticize or pass any hateful, harmful, controversial statements against our government or anyone, any single person. Okay, so this way, in a democratic country, we can enjoy the right to freedom of speech, free elections, rule of law. Then number 3 is freedom of right of religion. Right to freedom of religion. So as we have seen that India is a secular country and we are not having any official religion, no official no official religion is there, and all religion are equal. So every person can follow the teachings of his her own religion here. Okay, and nobody will force you to uh, leave or change your religion. Okay, people can build the places of worship like temple, church, okay, mosque, and we can spread our religion also freely. We can spread the teachings, preachings of a religion freely in any way. Next is our cultural and educational rights. Okay, so here two things are mentioned here. Here all the groups of people are having the right to keep their language alive and to their culture alive. So here the people belonging to any religion, they are having the complete right to preserve and to spread and to propagate their culture. Okay, especially if we talk about the minority people. Minority means those people, those who are having less than the total population in our country. So those people are also having the right to establish and to set up the education institutions of their own choice. Okay, like we can see here, two minority groups are being shown here. So they are allowed to set up, establish the educational institutions of their own culture. They can spread the education, they can deliver the education in their own language, written language, which is known as script. Okay, this way the people are having the right to run the school, colleges, and educational institutions. Uh, okay, so cultural and educational right. As you can see here, the people of different minorities. Okay, so if a group following a particular religion or speaking a particular language, okay, in any minority case, then they are allowed to follow this. And you know, this cultural and educational right is known as the heart and soul of our constitution. It is known as heart and soul. Now we are going to discuss about the next one, which is right again, exploitation. Now, what is exploitation? Exploitation means to treat someone unfairly, unequally, and causing a lot of injustice and harm to that person in every way. Here you can see that the children are standing here and they are saying that we want to learn, we want to go to study, we don't want to earn, we don't want to do work. So, where these children are working, you can see this child is working as a laborer. As a laborer, this child is working and is picking a very heavy stone on her head, which she is not able to do so. Okay, so this is the right against exploitation, which is given by the in Constitution in Article 23 to 24, according to which a person cannot be made to work without payment forcibly. It demands equal payment, equal wages for equal work, and second thing, A child who is under 14 cannot be made to work in a factory or in minings, okay, in mines, or in any other hazardous dangerous factories like cracker factories, harmful chemical factories. Forcibly they will not be allowed to do any work in any hotel. Okay, here you can see as the children are involved in the hazardous work, crackers factory, in maximum crackers factory, the children they are taken away secretly, which is known as human trafficking. Okay, this is human trafficking is a very inhuman crime. Here the children are kidnapped and they are taken in the crackers factory, and they are forcibly asked to work in the crackers factory, in the harmful chemical factory where the adult people cannot work. Here you can see they are dealing with the machines. So this is known as child labor, which is strictly prohibited. It is illegal, not at all allowed by the constitution, by the rule of our country. So this is child labor. Okay, this you can see child labor. The children are doing the work with the chemicals, harmful chemicals. So this is a child labor where the children are employed forcibly, and they are not allowed to enjoy their childhood. They are not allowed to attend the school regularly. This is all child labor. So for child labor, our country has made very strict rules. So for that, free and compulsory education is given to every child who cannot afford the education, who cannot go to the school. So for those children, poor children, uh, the education is made free and compulsory by the government of India, and between the age group 6 to 14 years. And many opportunities are given for healthy manners. Okay, and many initiatives are being taken by the government in the context of child labor. Many projects have been made, many laws have been made by the government to stop and to abolish, remove the child labor completely. Now next is our right to constitutional remedies. Now what is a remedy? Remedy is a solution. Remedy means problem. Suppose I am having any problem, so what I will do, I will discuss with the concerned person to find out the solution. Okay, so remedy means if you are having any problem related to your property, your house, your drainage system, and in your neighborhood, if someone is disturbing you, in your colony someone is disturbing you, and suppose someone has come at your home and asking you that this is my house, you leave this house. So this is a kind of problems are occurring in the society. In such cases, if someone is taking away your fundamental right of your freedom, freedom to speech, freedom to equality, in that case, students, whose help you can take? Where you will get the solution? So, yes, so constitutional remedies is also known as the very heart and soul of the constitution. It is known as the very soul and heart of the constitution because here constitution is giving you the remedy, the solution of all the problems which you face in your personal life. Okay, at any level. In that case, you can go to the court. You can take the help of the court system of India. Okay, and you can get the remedy, you can get the solution. And the last one is right to education, that is RTE. So here the children between the age of 6 and 14 years have the right to get free education. The children here, according to this government law, they can get the free education in the government schools. So government has set up many government schools and colleges where the children they can go and they can get the free education, especially the children those who belong to age group of 6 and 14. They can enjoy free and compulsory education in government schools, and today government is working very hard and very excellently. Government is working to provide lot many things to these children, those who cannot afford the education, the expensive education. Okay, so here many governmental programs are being run to train the teachers, to give them education which will help them to meet the real world. Digital education has been started. Okay, and also the students can get, so this is a right of each and every child to get the free and compulsory education, and this came into effect in the year 2010 on 1st of April. And one more thing, that government has also started midday meal scheme. according to which in every government school the meal is given, the food, very healthy nutritious food is given to the children, so that they can get their education also free and food also free, and that is very hygienic and very nutritious food is given to the children, as you can see here. Now our last topic is fundamental duties. So as we are enjoying our fundamental rights, so at the same time students, we have to follow certain fundamental duties. Okay, so we have rights. So these duties are to respect our constitution. We should show respect to our national flag and national anthem. That is why while singing national anthem we stand in attention position. We respect our national flag, national anthem, and we should also believe and work for the unity of country. Today in today's scenario, unity of a country is very very important. Once again, we do not want to give a chance to any foreign country to come and rule in our country. It is very important to defend and protect the freedom of our country. And also, we should treat everyone as equal and respect everyone's belief. We should respect each and every religion, students. Okay, we should be religious tolerant. It is a very good value. Develop the value of religious tolerance and respect each and every religion. Do not criticize any religion. And also, it is our duty to protect the natural environment. Okay, natural environment like our wildlife, our birds, our nature, our trees, plants, and also to protect public property. We should not damage our public property. It is made for us only. Government has provided this public property for us only. Okay, yes. Students, now we have come to the concluding part of a chapter. Here you can see the summary of the chapter. Okay, we have read about fundamental duties, fundamental rights. We have read about the basic concept, secularism. Okay, this is all our summary of the chapter and some of the amazing facts. Then we are going to conclude the chapter. Father of Indian Constitution is Dr. Ambedkar. Here you can see the members of the Constituent Assembly. Original copies. Now let us see the original copies of our constitution. So they are stored in the helium filed cases in the Indian Parliament. And there are two original constitutions copies written in Hindi and English. So thank you students very much for watching this video. Thank you so much.